Yes, ma'am. You got a level there?
Yep.
All right, sweet. We just basically start cold here. I don't have... Josh and I are working on some music, but I don't have any right now. So, it doesn't sound as produced as some podcasts, but fuck it. That's the way it is. So here we go. I got my little notes there. All right, fuck it. Let's do it. Here we go. This is episode 32. I'm going to go 32. I think it's 32. I'm proud of 32. Episode 32 of No Laugh Track, Acme Comedies podcast. My name is Justin Severson, and I hate to disappoint everyone today. It was supposed to be James Adomian stopping in, but I pulled up to Acme today, and there was security outside. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I come in. Well, the former governor stopped in. So, governor?
What do you mean, former governor?
Pardon me. Which
That's
part?
right, and then you address me as governor. That sounds like a contradiction.
I'm sorry. So the former is the part that's wrong.
I'm a potential acting and future governor. How do you know that I'm not a future governor?
That's true. That's true. Can you run again?
I can do whatever I want.
I'm gonna go.
Are you my commanding officer?
No, sir.
I established a perimeter here. We established a perimeter here in the facility. I have my security sweep it.
Yeah.
I swept it for mines. And I do that from a remote location with a repurposed minesweeper app.
How about that pat down I had? That was a little inappropriate.
I don't support pat downs, but if the TSA can do it to me, why can't I do it to you?
That's true. I hear you have a metal plate in your head, so you've had some trouble there. Your hip.
I have a metal plate in my hip.
Pardon me.
Do you think it? Do you want me to have a metal plate in my head? Is that a threat?
There are no.
You make a threat against a former incumbent governor.
I would never threat a former incumbent governor or a professional wrestler.
That's a gubernatorial foul.
I think it's a 10-yard penalty. I do have one question. I'm sure you don't remember this.
I have 5 answers. Go.
We met when you were running for governor. We met when I was a lowly intern at KQRS in 1998. It was like my second week in a radio station, and you came in, and it was like one of the biggest thrills of my life because I used to watch you wrestle. I grew up I was born in the mid-'70s, so your heyday was my wrestling era.
Yep. I went in the ring. I went against the George the Animal Steel here in Minneapolis.
That's right.
In front of 50,000 fans. Have you ever experienced combat with a man who can bite a turnbuckle? I have. I played chess with human-sized chess pieces against Manuel Noriega. Have you done anything like that? I hunted predators.
I've seen Predator.
Yep, that was a documentary. We lost creative control.
What was my favorite line from that movie? Not if he dies, he dies. It was the name of your book. I Ain't Got Time to Bleed.
That was the name of a book. That's not my only book.
Oh, pardon me.
You're forgetting Republicrats and Demopublicans?
That's right.
One of the most difficult book titles to pronounce.
Yeah, Rebloodlikins, is that what it was?
Yep, I don't read. I haven't read it. I ain't got time to read.
You're right. I'm misremembering that. It was I ain't got time to read. Pardon me. Just one last question, Jesse. I'm sure you're a very busy person.
What do you mean one last question?
Well, I don't want
to... What if I don't want to answer it?
Well, then maybe I was...
I'm going to have to take these tapes and examine them. I'm going to examine them. I'm listening to some of the Nixon White House tapes, and I'm going to examine these next to them.
You know what? I'm going to skip that question. I have a better one here. I was going to ask you about the feather boa, but you might get uncomfortable about that.
What do you mean uncomfortable about a feather boa? Just because I don't wear one in public doesn't mean I don't have one underneath my garments at all times. Are you suggesting that maybe I'm not wearing a feather boa now? How would you know? Was your pat down extensive?
I was in charge of no pat downs, but I guess if we hang out long enough, maybe I'll find out if that feather boa is underneath.
Most people do.
Hey, but I do want to know. Actually, I just want to commend you because I hadn't seen Tyrell in the public. He was not in the public eye for a long time, and I've seen your show, and it's nice to see Tyrell working.
Yep, my son, Tyrell Ventura.
That's right.
It's a stage name that's so strong I passed it on to the next generation.
Oh my God! I do have one critique of your show, though. I hope I'm not out of line.
Who are you, H.L. Mencken? Am I supposed to tremble? So that just because you have a microphone, you think that you're the press? I've tangled with the press.
I know you have.
Go at it. I went 5 rounds against Garrison Keeler.
I heard you made him take his headset off.
Yep. I don't use headsets. They don't make headsets large enough for me. I face incredible discrimination because I'm bald. And it's not just in sexual perceptions, it's also in the manufacture of headsets. They pinch the scalp hair.
I truly believe that. My only critique, and I apologize in advance for this, is I feel like the reenactments on your show is sort of the acting quality is comparable to 70s porn.
How do you know that's acting?
Oh no, really?
How do you know it's acting, and B, how do you know that I wasn't making an attempt to create an homage to 70s porn?
You know, those credits go by so fast.
I have a need for gratification like anyone else. When's the last time you were gratified, Justin?
It's been too long. It's been way too long. Oh my God, Jesse. I mean, Mr. Governor. Why would I call you Jesse?
It's Governor Mr. Ventura.
Governor.
And I have an honorary doctorate.
That's right. That's right, you do. Dr. Mr. Jesse Governor Ventura.
Yep.
Thank you for the time.
Well, I'm not going to thank you in return, but I'm going to walk away right now. Let's do it. He's moving. Get out. Secure the perimeter.
Well, there they go. I don't know. I was hoping maybe the feature acts from this week, the feature and the host would show up, and I talked to them. It's I know.
I'm just asking questions.
Jesse, you're done, right? Done?
Yep, we're done.
Oh, okay.
The interview's not taking place anymore. I'm simply looking for answers.
Why am I laughing? I know you're dead serious. I tell you what, I'm going to wait here, and somebody else is going to walk in, and we'll see what happens here.
You got it. I'll monitor from the seats.
All right, let's see. So I'll give everybody the lowdown here. I'm sitting in the Acme. I'm on the stage here. The couches are out. Jesse's gone, and I'm hoping somebody walks in here.
Nope, I'm back here. I'm watching.
We now have three members of the security team.
I have a detail. Do you have a detail? Yep, we got confirmed on the situation.
Jesse, do me one last favor and please see if James Adomian's in the building here.
He's here. Hold on. Get Adomian in here. I'm not personally a fan of him, but when I know he's in town in my state, I'm gonna keep an eye on him to make sure that any satire remains friendly and satirical.
Please do.
I don't need any libel or any kind of scandals erupting because of some humorist who thinks he's gonna get laughs at my expense. Adomian, get in here. You're on a short leash.
Hey, how you doing? It's Justin, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Justin. How are you?
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, we met this morning.
Briefly this morning, yes.
Yeah.
At KQRS.
Yes, welcome to Minneapolis.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Did you have anything to say to the...
No, Jesse and I are good. We're hanging out.
Oh, okay. Oh, did he didn't pick you up, give you a ride over here.
Oh, he picked me up and carried me over here, actually.
I know.
You're heavier than your biography says.
You know what? I wish I would have seen that because I wouldn't be surprised. The man is still fit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
He's made of barrels.
He's made of barrels. I want to...
He should be, if the most interesting man in the world, if the actor quits or passes away or something, they should get Jesse Ventura to replace him.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
For real? That would be great.
You know I haven't already negotiated. I'm capable of commercial endorsement.
Are you saying, is there any chance there's a Super Bowl commercial in Jesse's future?
I don't know, Jesse. What we want to do a Super Bowl ad?
Nope. The only football I endorse is the XFL.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh my God, that was a success.
It was.
That was a huge success. So James, welcome to Minneapolis.
Thank you, Justin. Yeah, it's fun. I love this place. We just did the one show last night. We got a few more. Fun room.
Yeah. So yesterday was your first step into this building, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to Minneapolis twice before, but never here.
Well, I know one of those places because I was there too.
Which one? Bang Bang?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Cedar Cultural Center.
Well, you may also have. I performed at the world's the state fair like 4 or 5 years ago.
What?
Yeah, I was doing George Bush at the time, so I did George W. Bush.
They hired you to do George Bush at the fair?
Yeah.
Really?
Wait, excuse me. I'm misremembering it. It was not. It was through Laughing Liberally. It was during the fair at like a theater in St. Paul.
Oh, okay.
But I went to the fair. I met Al Franken at the fair. That was fun.
Okay.
He was like, I was like, hey, Al Franken, I do an impression of you. And he was like, well, it's probably as fine as do an impression. Yeah. Here's my book. Sean Hannity is a dum-dum.
You did do the impression for him?
Yeah. He just kind of patted me out of the way.
Really?
He was just kind of like, yeah, that's all right.
Oh, I love it. So how was last night?
It was really fun. Really fun. I like these people. They're smart and attentive and diverse.
Yeah, we should talk about that Comedy Bang Bang thing because I got to tell you, man, how do I say this? I've been super pumped to talk to you. And I don't want to sound like a fucking weirdo, but I mean, I
do request that my interviewers work out physically.
Right. I got this job. Part of the reason I got this job is because I'm such a huge comedy nerd, and I just want to give you my little history of what I know about you.
Okay.
I was hearing you on other podcasts, just doing your characters, and I had no idea who was this person doing these voices. You don't know the trouble I went through one afternoon trying to figure out who's doing all these voices a few years back on these podcasts, like a Comedy Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Who the hell is doing this voice? Because I know who Scott Ackerman is. I knew it wasn't him.
Right.
I knew it was someone who was doing this.
Right.
And it took a while.
Well, isn't the information right there when you download it? I think it's on iTunes.
Yeah,
That's actually interesting. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't already famous.
you weren't famous enough yet. That's what I'm telling you.
I'm sorry, but thanks for finding out. Yeah, the fun thing about podcasts is that I feel like I never even saw this coming. There seems to be so much name recognition and retention amongst people who listen to podcasts compared to internet videos.
Oh, yeah.
If you do a video on the internet, nobody cares who you are, even if it's good, even if they like it. They're like, that's just a funny thing from internet land.
Yeah.
But for some reason, if you're on a podcast, they're like, oh, that's a real human being.
Yeah.
With a name.
Yeah. And then if you get on that podcast, that video will get some attention.
There you go.
Yeah. That show, that Comedy Bang Bang thing was very, very funny.
Oh, thanks. That was a super fun tour. I think Minneapolis was the first. I think that was the first night of the tour, actually. And of course, I did Jesse Ventura here.
Yes.
And I did Huell Howser in San Francisco. But other than that, we had a wheel that I would spin. Those were the two cities that we set as, I'm doing that character.
Yeah, you need to do it here.
But all the other cities, we had a wheel that I would spin, and it would land on one of the characters that I played on the podcast, and I would have to change into it right there and come up with a bit. It was crazy.
That'd be good.
It was good. I guess it was a fun gimmick, but it was not easy.
Yeah. Oh, I bet not. But your background is in sketch, right?
Yeah.
Improv?
Yeah, sketch and improv originally. That's how I started comedy. And then I started doing stand-up like 5 years ago. I had done stand-up for like 6 months when I started out.
Yeah.
Like 10 years ago. But I just didn't stick with it. I preferred sketch comedy. I convinced myself that I should do sketch comedy and characters instead. And then I started doing stand-up for fun again. And it everybody was like, why haven't you been doing stand-up? So I kept doing it.
And now you meld the two.
Yeah, I mean, I perform as myself. That is like out of costume in my own voice, and I go in and out of characters, and I will tell stories about my real life too, which is one of the perks of doing stand-up. I'm not tied down to whatever somebody thinks that I'm doing an impression of.
Right.
But then I still do characters. I perform in character, like in costume, also now, but more for fun. Actually, they kind of flip-flopped my emphases.
Since you brought him up, let's talk about that right now. This Huell Howser.
Yeah, he passed away on Sunday. He passed away on Orthodox Christmas. I don't know if that's significant to him, but I'm Armenian, so that's our Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah, I did an impression of Huell.
We should, because I'm guessing a lot of the listeners of this podcast are in Minnesota.
Are in Minnesota, you wouldn't know who he was.
No clue who he is, and I didn't until I heard you doing the voice on other shows.
Right. Yeah, he's a folk hero in California.
Yeah.
He's this public television figure. I'm Huell Howser, and here we are with California's Gold. And that's the show. He would go around California and just have adventures. Our adventure begins here. And he was so exuberant. Everyone loved him.
Yeah.
And he was hilarious. Like the show would, I mean, he would ask every question possible.
Yeah.
Like exhaustively ask every question about everything he encountered on camera.
Yes.
And it was comical to watch. And so I did an impression of him for years. I've done it. And but you know, he passed away on Sunday, and it's too bad. I actually was very honored to write
I read that. I know what you're going to say.
Memoriam for him, a remembrance for Huell Howser, for the LA Weekly and KCET, which is the station he worked out of in Los Angeles.
I read I read what you wrote for the LA Weekly. That was really nice.
Yeah, I was happy to do that because
did they ask you to?
A lot of people. People know me from a lot of different things, but one of the big things that people know about me is that I did an impression of Huell Howser.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who didn't even know he was a real person.
I didn't. That's another thing. I had to Google, who the hell's Huell Howser?
Right.
What is this?
Yeah, that's. I oftentimes will pick somebody to do an impression of who's not well known.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's just more fun that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been pretty sad about it, actually. Like, I didn't meet him in person ever, but he called me on the phone once, and I told that story in the article I wrote. But it was very funny because we had some mutual connections I sent a clip of me doing him to them, so it got back to him.
Okay.
So he calls me. And it's this voice on the phone like, is this James? And I was like, who's calling? You know, because it's this unknown number. And he was like, this is Huell Howser. I heard you've been doing an impression of me. And I was just like, oh,
wow.
It was blown away.
Yeah.
And we talked, and he was very gracious, actually. And we talked about doing like a live comedy bit together, but it never came together.
Oh, that's too bad.
He was like, I'm usually in Palm Springs.
You probably knew that.
Yeah,
was he?
He was a California legend, and I hope that people will find out about him. Like it's hard to explain. Okay, like his show was something you could watch at any time with people, by yourself, if you're happy, if you're sad, drunk, stoned, sober, whatever.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was funny, and it was interesting. It was just going around California and figuring everything out.
You said he was really funny. Do you think he was intentionally funny, or was just kind of an accident?
That's a tough one. He was when I talked to him on the phone. He was definitely not as I don't want to be mean, but
I know.
His persona on TV seems kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But he was not dumb.
Yeah.
So I think it was either. I think to some degree he was putting it on, and I think to some degree it was accidental.
From what I gather, it was his philosophy was, I'm going to ask every question anyone would ever ask.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you have and then you have a video where you're portraying him. I was watching that the other day on Funny or Die.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and you're going in.
So this water is just wet. Yeah. And but like he will ask questions like that sometimes.
I witnessed that in real life once with a there was some event here downtown Minneapolis, and it was like Rib Fest or something. And off to the side, Nabisco had a stand where they were making up little snacks for people, free samples. And one of them, and I went up and had one, and I took a bite. It was really good. And this woman next to me, she's like, "Oh my God, this is so good." And you look at it, you can see what's on there. It's a Ritz cracker with peanut butter and some M&Ms. This woman was so blown away and had so many questions about how you could possibly come up with this combination. And what ingredient are they not telling us about? You're saying this is all it is. You're saying I could go home and put peanut butter on this, and then go buy some M&Ms
Yes.
and put those on there.
Yeah, that. And
Are you kidding me, lady?
You want to say yes? All the options are open to you. You could.
You're saying that's all it is.
I could throw it on the ground and step on it.
Yeah, that's all it is. You could even add a fourth step and step on it.
Todd Glass has a bit like that where he goes, he's talking about the infomercial, then how for what do you call that? The spongy, squeegee. ShamWow.
Yeah, ShamWow.
And he goes, how they start listing all the things you could do with it. You can clean up a mess. You can clean up milk. You can clean up orange juice. And he's like, what else can you do with it? And it's just like, he's like, of course, you can wipe shit up with it. That's obviously what it is.
Yeah.
You can spill it. You can use two of them. You can use three of them. You can wipe one up with another one.
We have this car. You can even drive it.
Right.
Exactly. This phone. You can make phone calls. Not just get the internet.
Yeah, it's like... I guess. I mean, you understand why. I mean, if you think about it, you understand why someone would exhaustively figure out all the uses for something.
Yeah.
Just to illustrate it.
Part of my job on the I want to go back to the Huell Howser thing for a little bit more. Part of my job on the morning show, I'm the producer, so I look up the stories that we do on the show. And when I was looking up stories, well, I guess was it Sunday? When did they announce his passing?
He passed away on Sunday, but they announced it on Monday.
Okay, then it was Monday night when I was looking that up. And I'll tell you, like, knowing and looking forward to the fact that I was going to talk to you, and then seeing that happened, it was like, this is. I'm not into, I don't believe in, like, I don't think there's some weird meaning to any of that or anything, but, like, that was a really strange coincidence. Like,
well, there's a strange coincidence. I was suddenly struck with the impulse to watch Huell Howser videos the night that he died.
Really?
I was showing people in New York Huell Howser because a lot of people just don't know who he is.
Yeah.
So I was just showing videos of him, and then it turns out he passed away. It was... yeah, that who knows?
Yeah.
It sucks. It's like it's that kind of thing sucks because he's just purely beloved.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I'm not the only one. There's other comedians make fun of him,
Mm-hmm.
but he's either made fun of, but mostly beloved, and And so he's also kind of this larger than life figure that you forget that it's a real person in some way, and
sure.
It's like you didn't expect him to be able to die. It's like he was like a folk hero. It's like
absolutely
fictional character of some
and he was
kind.
still working.
He had just retired.
Oh, he had just retired.
And I don't know if he was ill and kept it a secret or if it was a surprise. I don't know, but he had wrapped his career up.
Yeah, we'll put links to all that stuff. Looking for the video that you posted. I'll get that on the Facebook page.
The Yosemite Firefall is a really good one.
Yes.
And there's tons of Huell Howser videos, and I think. I think when he retired, he donated the entire run of his show to Chapman University, I believe, and I think that's supposed to be released as like an online tribute.
Oh wow!
And so hopefully it'll be something that people can see beyond California because he really was something special.
Yeah.
He was very funny, but also. So relentlessly positive that it's really you have to be an incredible asshole to not
That's yeah.
like the guy.
That's a good way to put that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't like him, you're the asshole, not him.
I feel the license to just say that. Declare somebody out there is like, well, I never liked him, and why did I lapse into the Jim Gaffigan voice?
Who's this guy?
Why am I an asshole?
I love that. I love that voice.
Yes. Oh, it's fantastic. I've seen him on the stage several times.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Rocking the stage before he hit the theaters. Now he's
Now you couldn't even get him in here with his entourage.
probably not, but good for him. I will say, couldn't happen to a better guy, and I do mean that. I picture you in high school as like very. Did you act in high school? What did you do?
Yes.
I know you have a part of your act is you played football. Is that true?
Yes, I was an actor. I did theater and football, basically. That was my things, and I ran track. I was a pole vaulter too. I would always get A's and F's. That's my. I was a good student, but sometimes I just wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah.
Or like I would ace like the final and then like turn the paper in a week late and get an F on it. You know.
Trying when you want to.
Yeah, I guess so. I also did way too many extracurriculars in high school and college.
You mean
I was way more interested in doing fun stuff related to school than actual schoolwork.
Yeah.
And I don't regret that at all.
No.
I didn't graduate from college because I did way too much shit in my senior year. I wrote a play and I produced it and I did all the theater plays.
Holy shit.
And I was working on the newspaper too, and it was like, of course I'm doing too much. And it was like, who cares?
Yeah. Where was that?
At Whittier College in Southern California. I played football 1 year there, but that didn't really work out. I wasn't cut out to play college football.
Oh, you were on the team in college?
I was just on the team, yeah. And theater from high school, and then in college too. And I guess I have always been performing comedically as like a class clown.
Yeah.
As long as anybody, as soon as I started going to school.
Yeah.
I was a class clown. And
you were growing up where?
In Georgia and then California.
Okay. Well, I obviously mostly.
Or
California.
I would either be.
You would know Huell.
Right. I would either be paralyzed shy or I would be the class clown.
I can relate to that.
Yeah. So like the first semester of the school year, I would be terrified of everyone, and then the second one, once I met everybody, then I was like,
why? I feel the same. What is that? Do you like that you're like that?
I don't. Yeah, I just know. I don't. Why would I? That's just if I've always been that way, why am I going to be angry about it?
I don't know, but not angry, but just like because I have a problem with how shy I am sometimes when I first meet people. Like and then I've been accused of coming off as like kind of a aloof or a dick. Like no, I'm just sitting back I'm just observing. Like I'm not
trying
to be an asshole.
Right.
You know. But I don't know. I had the same type of thing. Like I loved making people laugh. But if you put me, I'll never forget when I was like 17 or 18, going up in front of my social studies class to read some thing I wrote on Bill Clinton, and I couldn't even keep my hands still. I mean, the paper almost shook out of my hands. They were moving so fast up and down. My voice is cracking. Like it was horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. And these are people that, I went to I grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota, not a big school. Like I pretty much knew everybody. I should have been okay with that, but shaking like a fucking leaf.
Well, do you perform now?
No.
Okay.
But on the radio,
you do radio. Yeah, you're
in this.
Oh, see, there you go. You just gotta figure out your magic feather.
Yeah.
And then
feather.
Yeah. So that's the trick. Microphones only.
That's true. What did you go to college for? What was your major?
Oh God, I had a self-designed major that I ended up failing out of.
Nice. You did one of those scams.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't easy. It was theater, economics, and philosophy. That's what I studied, and I like when I was like a junior, I was like, and I don't feel like focusing on any one of these. I like them all, so I just. I put together a major and then pitched it to a bunch of professors and I'm going to do this and this and this, and they're like, great, good. And then I just ended up I did I finished the project for the major itself, but there were a couple other classes that I ended up not finishing.
Nice. I didn't graduate it from college either.
There you go. So, yeah. When I had day jobs, I put on my resume that I was a college graduate. Nobody cared. Yeah. Nobody checked. No. And now I don't need it. So
I never had the balls to do that, but I have had like at my job now. Like my boss just retired last month. For like 10 years, I've known him like 12 years. The whole time he thought I was a college graduate. I never corrected him. It's like, yeah, that's right. Didn't matter. I already had the job.
Yeah,
but I didn't feel like correcting him.
It doesn't matter.
Not really.
No,
not really.
That's my message to the youth: is just save yourself some money.
Should we cut out all this other crap and just put that? That'll be the message today.
That's my one message to everybody. The youth. I said that. Well, who says the youth? That sounds like somebody who hates children. The youth.
Get a load of the youth. Yuck.
It's what it sounds like is an evil. It sounds like an evil Catholic teacher archetype. Like the guy, like the guy who's like, you've been a very naughty student.
Yes, wringing his hands.
If there's one thing I know, it's youth instruction. That would be a fun character to play.
When you were in town for the comedy Bang Bang show, that was. I'm going to tell you something you already know. That was about a week before your CD went on sale.
Yes.
To the public. And I bought it.
Hot.
And it's fucking awesome.
Thank you.
Super funny. I love it. And you kind of just did one of the voices you do on
Low Hanging Fruit.
Yeah, yes. Low Hanging Fruit is named the CD. And the mustache twisting villain.
That's kind of the theme of the album because that's my big, I guess that's the big closing number, folks.
Yeah.
That's my gay villains bit.
Yeah. I love
where I talk about all the different gay villains and how they're gay for no reason at all, except to illustrate to the audience, hey, the bad guy's gay. Just in case you were on the fence about who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, the bad guy's gay.
Yeah.
And the Sheriff of Nottingham is a classic gay villain.
Is it?
And that's a character I play sometimes. Just in costume, I'll come out as the Sheriff of Nottingham. And I interrupt the show, and I'm just like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm looking for Robin Hood. This meeting is an express violation of the King's rules. Where is he? And then you just kind of ransom you kind of like go through the audience and harass everybody looking for Robin Hood.
That is so awesome. Oh my god! And and then when you hear that,
that's something I wish I could film. That's a bit that's just an interactive me and the audience bit, and for some reason I never think of a way to film those. It's not easy because theaters are dark.
Yeah,
and cameras don't usually look good. I mean, they don't. Footage doesn't look good if it's filmed at a live show.
That's true.
Little complaint session with James Adomian. Showbiz complaints with James Adomian. Renowned ingrate.
What else do you have to bitch about, James? What the hell, man? It's nice out today. Come on.
But yeah, it is really nice. Yeah. It's a real warm week here in Minneapolis for the winter.
For January 9th?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 35.
35
today.
It's about what it is in New York, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, you live in New York now.
Yeah, I have been.
Yeah.
I talk about gay villains. I talk about homophobic beer ads. I'm a gay person. I'm a gay guy.
Wait a second.
I'm a homo American.
We had a rule about that here.
You don't. Oh, there's no gays on stage?
No gays.
I must have pounded that rule into submission last night. Yeah. So I just talk about those things. There's and there's another reason to do stand up as myself was so I was out of the closet, but no one knew it from my shows because I was just playing characters.
Right.
So it was like, you know what? I guess if I do stand up, I can be out of the closet.
Sure.
If I'm talking about myself. So that was fun. I'm glad I did it.
Did you do how did that work? Did you were you doing stand up and then how am I going to squeeze in the fact that I'm gay?
I started doing stand up for fun. in L.A. Mostly, partly because I got tired of lugging costumes around, which is, I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. Like just bags of shit with me all the time. And like having to change. Sometimes there's not a dressing room. If you're doing a show at a bar or a nightclub, like you're in the bathroom, and there's nothing more humiliating than like putting on like a suit to play George W. Bush in a bathroom in a fucking bar where there's stickers on the windows and or stickers on the mirrors.
Yeah.
And there's just like cum everywhere, I guess. And you're trying to look like the president.
Yeah. There's pee all over the toilet seats.
Yeah. And it was, and like bumping into shit. Somebody's taking a shit next to you, and you're putting your shoes on, standing up. It was just awful, and I'm glad. I am so relieved not to have to fucking do that stuff anymore.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Now I just do characters. If is there a dressing room, great, I'll do a character.
Yeah.
But there was that, and then I felt like I wanted to talk about my life.
Yeah.
And there's certain things that I was writing down in my journals that were like, oh, that's funny, but it's not really any character. That's kind of me. So
Yeah.
I gave myself the chance to do it, and I was, I guess I've only been doing stand-up 5 years, except for the brief first time I did it. But so it's not that long to have been doing stand-up. But
no, not really.
But it's not like I just started from nothing. I knew how. I mean, I was doing comedy on stage.
Yeah.
And I was also really lucky when Upright Citizens Brigade opened in Los Angeles in 2005. They brought me in. They adopted me. I had been at the Groundlings, and I kind of like for a while I was at both places, but UCB like adopted me.
Yeah.
And that was really awesome. And I had a place to do whatever I wanted. And I lost my train of thought.
Well, while you're
and then my life got really boring. Oh no! What? I was doing. The thing there was I started doing characters at stand-up shows.
Yeah.
And two things from that were that I learned how to, instead of like if you're doing a sketch in a sketch comedy, usually there's a fourth wall and you have a reality in the stage where you're doing a thing and the audience is watching you. Yeah. But if you're doing a character at a stand-up show, you're facing out towards the audience and you're addressing them. Even if it's not you, if it's not me, James Adomian, it's a character, I'm still talking to the audience, probably taking questions from the audience, improvising, whatever. And that's how I learned that part of stand-up before I even did stand-up, just from doing sketches in that, what do you call it? There's a term for it, but it's like it's breaking the fourth wall, or it's like I don't know.
I've heard that.
Facing the audience, I guess, or something. The other thing was like I watched stand up for years just from being at shows, and there would be like a stand up lineup, and I'd be the one guy who on the show doing a character.
Oh, okay.
But I fell in love with it. I just fell in love with the medium, just watching people like Todd Glass and Andy Kindler and Eddie Pepitone and those guys in L.A.
Would you say anybody took you under their wing?
I don't know. Everybody, lots of people did actually. Yeah, lots of people did. I'm lucky enough that people tend to like what I do. So, I mean, there's exceptions. There's plenty of people who hate what I do.
Sure.
But a lot of my heroes were like, let's do something, you know?
Isn't that awesome?
It is really
wow,
nice.
It's really awesome.
It's really nice, yeah.
When you said about changing clothes in the bar bathroom, it reminded me of something. Do you know who Dr. Demento is?
Yes,
yeah.
I love him.
Yeah.
Is he still around?
He's still alive.
Okay.
Is he still doing a show? I'm not.
I feel like
sure.
not, but he.
There's a quick story.
His show was great.
It was fantastic. Loved it. Listen, it's every Sunday night.
Yeah,
is when I was.
I was a radio geek for sure. I listened to Dr. Demento. I listened to Tom Likas. The Shock Jock. Is he on? Was he ever on here?
No.
Oh, let me tell you something. Women need men. Women are dumb. You're just an asshole. And my favorite radio performer of all time is probably Phil Hendry. For sure.
He's so good.
Phil Hendry is a master of what he's like the enlightened guru on top of the mountain for what I do.
Yeah,
Phil Hendry, there's nobody like There's nobody who approaches what Phil Hendry does with character comedy.
No. It's hard to even explain. I'm not hard to explain, but you can explain it to someone. It's almost unbelievable.
It's a ventriloquist act, except it's on the radio, so there's no puppet. He does fake callers and guests on his show, and then he talks to them as himself, as the host. And it's incredible breath control because he's talking to himself for hours.
Yes.
And it sounds like two people talking.
Yeah. And then also brings in real callers.
Yes.
That get pissed off.
The real callers don't understand what's going on. They're pissed off at how crazy the people, his guests are, who are really him.
It'll be like someone about gun control.
Well, Phil, let me tell you something.
And he has a whole cast of characters that kind of recur.
Great characters.
Yeah, I'm not going to say who, but I have a friend that subscribes to the Phil Hendry show. I think you have to pay for it now.
I guess so.
And he sends me clips of it, so I don't have to pay for it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm stealing from. He's sharing the Phil Hendry comedy.
I personally don't. I don't steal his thing just because I hate to use the word stealing.
No,
I don't
agree
with.
I wouldn't have said that.
He's one of the guys. He's one of the guys who's on the. I disagree with him. He has a lot of strong opinions.
Yeah.
And that sometimes I hate what he says.
Sure.
He had some really conservative angles on a lot of what was happening in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And that sucks, I guess. But he's, I'm not gonna. That doesn't take away from how talented the guy is.
No, that shouldn't.
And but I also don't. I'm not. He's one of those guys who's like, you got to pay for my shit, and I'm like, maybe I'm just a different generation. I came up in a generation where I was just kind of expected to give everything away for free, and I usually do. Like, and obviously people pay tickets for live shows, and that's basically how we make a living. That and TV.
Yeah.
But like all my favorite stuff I've done on the internet has all been uncompensated.
Yeah.
And that's like most of my career.
Yeah. Funny or Die, that all stuff.
Bang,
bang.
Funny or Die,
for that.
Funny or Die will toss me a couple $100 once in a while. That's pretty cool of them. But that's not.
But as a consumer, I'm not paying for it.
Right. And I have a hard time feeling that I should have to pay for something when everything I've done I didn't ask anybody to pay for. And
you know what? Let me. Can I steal it? Can I steal that from you? Because this podcast's free, so now I'm even. I'm giving away something too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't want to nerd out on copyright law, but I do agree with Max Kaiser. If you don't know who he is, you should follow him. He's great. He's a expatriate economics doom and gloom guy.
Okay,
and he lives in Europe, and I really like what he's written about copyright laws. That like they're insane. They're out of control. Mm-hmm. There's no everything that we do as human beings is based on other things other human beings have done. We're a social sharing species, and the idea that I own it, it's mine, is not natural.
No,
so if I own it, it's mine. Sure, for like your lifetime, maybe. Or like a little bit of time after you die, but there's no reason that like something from 100 years ago is not in the public domain. Like there should be a very short period of time before something's shared.
Yeah,
because you didn't create it like God out of nothing. Whatever you did came from something else.
Yeah,
even Shakespeare had sources that he just stole from. We know this as like literary historians know this. He had like history books, and he would just steal from them. To make Shakespeare plays.
Well, he did it. There you go.
That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on the same side, you shouldn't rip off your friends. No, I've had that happen to me. I've tried to be very careful about that kind of thing in comedy, especially. Like, I think you never want to rip off somebody who's a friend, but that's a friend thing.
Sure.
I think nothing you do is so sacred and unique that it's like you have to pay me and my heirs in perpetuity for it.
Well, I'm proud to say I paid for your CD. So
Thank you. And if you hadn't, I would hunt you down and have you prosecuted.
Yeah, there you go.
My album is the one exception.
Well, yeah, and after this conversation, I'd lie about it even if I didn't.
Right.
No, I paid for it, and like I said, I love it.
Well, thanks.
You know what? I never said about the Dr. Demento thing. There was a.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
no, it's fine. No, totally fine. But I do want to say this. There was a radio convention they have here every year in Minneapolis called the Conclave, and I went there a few, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, and I was in the bathroom by myself. At least I thought I was by myself. Who walks out of the stall in nothing but his boxer shorts, but Dr. Demento? Then comes out and changes into his full. He wears a costume.
Excuse me.
Tuxedo.
Did he? Oh, that's right.
And
so
top
he had
hat.
to change in the bathroom.
Yes. I saw him. It'd be like seeing Mickey Mouse. Without the. At Disney World without the head on.
That happens.
Yeah.
That definitely happens. The worst too is when some of the audience sees you in the bathroom. Like there's an audience who's going to see you on stage, and there's just the one bathroom, and there you are, slopping together a costume.
And I knew that he was going to be there because I had read it somewhere. So I was like, I'd love if I run into Dr. Demento, I'm gonna meet him. I'm gonna get his autograph, maybe get a picture taken
it's the worst
with him.
possible time to meet somebody.
Yes, in the freaking bathroom. So and then it's like I said, I thought I was alone. Then it turns out it's the two of us, and I'm like, do I say anything now? Do I acknowledge that I recognize him? What do I do? I ended up waiting till we both walked out, and I kind of like nonchalantly like, hey, anyway, and he was super friendly. But I did wait till he left. I was like, oh.
Hey, remember?
What if this is my only
from the
chance?
bathroom?
Yeah, exactly. Do you remember these shoes? Were you looking under?
I just want to make sure you know I'm not a bathroom person.
I only stock celebrities in restrooms.
I was trying to think. I don't think I have any big celebrity story meeting in a bathroom. I don't think I do. My favorite celebrity I have met twice. Well, one time I saw him. The second time I introduced myself was Ripp Taylor.
Yeah.
It's just the most comical celebrity sighting I've seen because I saw him twice. Like, why would I have to see Ripp Taylor twice? Like, one time should be enough for one life.
Yeah.
But the first time I was eating at an outdoor cafe, so people were walking by on the street in West Hollywood.
Okay.
Ripp Taylor walked by, and he had a handler or an associate of some kind, and he's talking, and he has his big mustache and scarf, and he's walking by, and he's going like, "What? We gotta get there. We'll be late for the show." And that's all I heard. That was the glimpse into his life. It's Ripp Taylor. He's late, and of course he has a show.
And he's not out of character.
Of course there's a show.
Yeah, somewhere.
Most days of his life, of course, there's the show. We'll be late for the show. And then the second time I saw him...
He's been saying that forever. You know it.
The second time I saw him was in L.A., and he was eating at... I went to this, and it was another restaurant, and he was eating there. It was like a burger joint, and he had a handler with him.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's a different person, but he's got an entourage, I guess. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to see Ripp Taylor twice in one lifetime and not introduce myself. So
yeah.
I was like, but then what do you say? It's like, it's Ripp Taylor. So I exaggerated. I was like, hi, I'm a big fan of your work.
I don't
what is
his work?
What is his work?
No.
I immediately thought to myself, but I'm a big fan of your work, and he drops the fork and knife. They make a clink sound. He just immediately goes blink, and then he puts his hand to his ear like he wants to hear more. Like, keep complimenting me. He goes clink.
Tell me examples.
Yeah. He was funny.
Oh no. Confetti? I like confetti.
He was funny. I do feel a little bit left out that I didn't get hit with confetti.
Yeah. Maybe that's what the handler's for.
My confetti boy.
Joe the confetti boy. So what did you what did you see yourself doing?
One other time I saw Mark Wahlberg on the street, and I used
shirt
to
on or off?
What?
Did you have
shirt on? Unfortunately, when I was Marky Mark came out when I was 14 or 13, so it was like, for me that was like, he was like the hottest guy in the universe for like 3 years.
Oh sure, those even as a straight guy, I dude had an awesome six pack.
You want to cuddle, you want like that. You need it. I want it. And then I saw him years later, and he has he has a movie career and all that. Like, we all know Mark Wahlberg, and it's like, I don't think of him as hot as I used to when I was young. I mean, he's obviously a really attractive guy, but but here he is, and it's like, oh my God, you're a real person.
Yeah.
And but all these thoughts are going through my head, and I didn't say it because I was like, he looks mean, right? He looks me in the eye, and he looks kind of mean, and I'm like, what do I do? try to suck his dick. But all I did was I was like, you know what? I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give him a silent nod like this. So I did the nod thing.
The cool
I
kid.
I was like, I did a cool kid nod like that,
Yeah.
and he did it right back.
Of course
me.
he did.
He just nodded right back.
Oh, he's
to me
used.
like
That's Boston. Yeah,
But so it was like an understanding.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, this guy's cool.
Well, cool.
All right, this guy's great. And then I'm like, oh no, that was a thanks for letting me masturbate to you. That's what that nod meant. Mark.
You should have shook his hand. You feel those calluses? Thanks, buddy.
I will. I plan on working with him.
Calvin Klein. You still want Calvin Klein's, Marky? Weren't they Calvin Klein?
I think it was.
The boxer briefs?
I would imagine you would probably stick with the brand.
Yeah.
Unless you want to rebrand yourself.
Yeah. Little Marky Mark. Feel the vibration.
Dan Van Kirk does a great Marky Mark on the Sklar Brothers podcast, Scarborough Country.
Oh, love those guys.
I love those guys too. I do a lot of stuff on their podcast, and Dan Van Kirk's Mark Wahlberg is like it's amazing.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, it's great.
I haven't listened to a while.
We've done a couple where I'm Jesse Ventura and he's Mark Wahlberg, and they share stories because Mark Wahlberg was supposed to be on the plane on 9/11.
Oh, right.
And so I'm like, what do you know about it? And he's like, what do you mean what I know? I know what I know,
That's fantastic. Something that's happened when I started hosting this podcast, I stopped listening to, not stopped completely, but my listening of other podcasts has gone down considerably. So
I will confess that I rarely listen to podcasts myself.
Yeah.
I mostly just do them.
I can understand that.
I check it. I listen to every once in a while. I listen to Mark Maron or Paul F. Tompkins podcast.
Yeah.
I listen to I listen to like James Howard Kunstler and Alan Watts, 2 serious podcasts.
Oh my goodness.
Mostly on airplanes though. For any kind of podcast, it's usually only when I'm on an airplane.
Yeah.
Otherwise I just don't. I personally haven't set up my life to listen to them.
Do you have a car in New York City?
I don't have a car. I don't have an iPod anymore. I guess that's part of it too.
Yeah.
I keep I had 2 that I've lost, and I just don't have anything like that. I don't have a smartphone, so
what?
No, I don't have a smart. I have a Wise phone.
Wise. Yeah. Somebody. Speaking of you, Jim Gaffigan. I follow him on Twitter, and he posted a pic on Twitter the other day. He was at the Lakers game, Knicks game.
Okay.
And the guy that played Mr. Big, Chris Noth on Sex and the City.
Okay.
Was apparently
there next to him or something?
Was sitting in front of him, and the picture that Jim Gaffigan took was of Chris Noth, his phone, and it said, Chris Noth has a Breaking Bad phone. Do you watch Breaking Bad? Because the guy on Walt on Breaking Bad uses the old flip phone.
A flip phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yes. What I was going to ask you is what you're doing now what you saw yourself doing? Is this what you want to be doing? I mean, what's...
Question, actually.
What are you working towards right now?
No, I thought I was going to be... I never thought of myself that I would be like a I don't know, a fairly well-known stand-up. I had no idea podcasts were a thing that would happen.
Yeah.
I thought I had a future in television sketch comedy.
Okay.
That's what I was aiming for, and it never happened.
Yeah.
So I'm living in a universe. There's probably alternate universes where that did happen, but I like this one just fine.
Yeah.
It's not what I expected. It's very fun. It took me a long time to get to a place where I could enjoy myself and my life.
Yeah.
I was very depressed. I was like, I had a horrible experience coming out of the closet.
Oh.
And then after effects after that, it was bad. It was like residual negativity.
Okay.
That sloshed over for years, and it ruined my 20s basically.
That's awful.
But I shouldn't. That's a blanket statement. It's not really true.
Well,
it ruined part of my 20s.
Sure.
I guess.
Sure. It tainted
large parts of my life, and it was a horrible ordeal. And that's another reason I like to talk about being gay publicly and make people laugh. I force people to laugh about it, even in a homophobic room, or a largely homophobic room, or whoever they are. Sometimes there's lots of gay people, and sometimes there's none of them at my shows. So I I talk about it to everybody because whether if they're gay or not, there's other people in your life who might be. So I feel like I went through so much hell that I just don't want anybody else to do it. I want to do whatever I can to make other people not have to go through that anymore.
Yeah.
And we're in a place where more and more people are going to start coming out over the next few years, and it's good. It's going to be really great.
Yeah. Like Todd Glass was the
Todd Glass a year ago came out of the closet, and that was amazing. He did it on pure courage. He wasn't even prepared for it at all.
That's one of the best episodes of anything you can ever listen to ever.
He's so great.
When he came out on WTF with Marin, that was I'd never heard anything like it.
Oh,
it was so real.
Todd,
and I've been a fan of Todd for a long time.
People loved him. He was all worried about it, Yeah. He was in the closet his whole life. He's in his 40s, and people loved him. He's a beloved comedian.
Yeah.
And there's lots of people like that all over show business.
Yeah.
Who think, I can't possibly, and you can. Everybody likes you.
Yeah.
There is a small number of people who are assholes.
Yeah. It's not a big deal anymore.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal anymore.
And it's something to celebrate.
Yeah. You do an impression of Todd, right?
I do Todd Glass impression. What do you think? What if I? The problem with the Mark Maron situation?
That's what he can't say that he's gay. Still, he can't say the words, so he says the Mark Maron situation.
I've noticed that he prefaces everything he says, not during his act, but when he's like doing an interview, or asking, like either side of an interview, he prefaces everything he says. Have you ever noticed that?
No, I want to say this, but when I say it, I really don't want to say it. What I'm saying is I'm asking you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Before I ask you the question, I want to make sure you know this is a question within a question.
Exactly.
Todd Glass. God damn. I can't wait to do his podcast again. He's so fun.
Yeah, it's been a while since he's been on back.
I've only been on it twice, and it feels like I've been on a lot more because we did so many bits we just come up with the shit, and he's so fun. There's so many shows. When you do a show with Todd, you hang out with him for hours afterwards.
Yeah.
When you do the podcast, it's like you have to he made me late for a show. Both times I did his show. He made me late because we couldn't. It's too funny, and I'm like, I can't tear away from it.
I have a weird connection to Todd Glass in that I'm divorced now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, James. I when I got married years ago, whatever it was, 7, 8, 9, 10, 6, 7, whatever it was. When leading up to my wedding, my fiance at the time and her bridesmaids all wanted to go get their nails done and everything, have a mani-pedis before the wedding. And I was able to cover the price of that because of Todd Glass.
What?
Because about 6 months before that, he was in town at this club at Acme Comedy Company. He was staying downtown, somehow buddied up with people from a spa downtown. They were giving him free massages, and I don't know what else he was getting done there.
I bet he could get himself talked into a place.
Yes. So not only was he getting free work, but he came on the air at the radio station, and like every 2 minutes was like, "Oh, and by the way, I'm staying downtown, and I love visiting blah 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 spa," and gave him like 5 free plugs on our morning show.
Nice.
2 days later, we get a gift basket at the radio station with all these gift cards for massages.
Good energy. Todd Glass is a good energy person.
So thanks to him, my ex-wife and her sister and my sister all got pedicures and manicures for for free. Thanks, Todd.
Yeah, see, no, I give things out like that. You should leave a tip. I hope you leave a tip. Leave a medium tip.
I hope they did leave a medium tip. So you're here at Acme.
Thank you. I had forgotten.
Yeah, we're here at Acme. You're here. You're going to be here tonight. I'm coming back to for the show tonight. By the way,
I will be here tonight.
Yeah. So today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday.
There you go.
Yeah. Where'd my little cheat sheet here go? You did a little bit of this voice on the morning show today. Can you do some Vincent Price?
Vincent Price, yes. Well, gentlemen, welcome to my chamber of secrets. Raoul, you'll notice Raoul, my curious associate and charge d'affaires. Our relationship need not be specified. Raoul, fetch the murdering slippers. I love Vincent Price movies. Like that's part of the gay villain's bit. He's one of them.
Yeah.
He's always playing a gay villain.
Yeah.
You will pardon my ample erection. But
They called
Vincent
him.
Price he's one of those guys. At the same time, he's a great actor and an awful actor.
Yeah.
And it depends. Like he's outstanding when he's playing like a demon, like an evil thing who's like, vengeance will be mine, and like it's awesome. But when he tries to play like a good guy character, it doesn't like in like one of the Edgar Allan Poe stories. There's a movie of like the Fall of the House of Usher or something, and he's like Frederick, what do you mean? He's gone, the love of our lives. What's happened to her? And it's like, you should be the bad guy.
Yeah.
He's a madman, you see. Madness runs in our family, of course. I love those smoky voices that don't really exist anymore. It's not popular to have smoking celebrities like it was back in the 60s and earlier. So that's why Vincent Price sounds like he's in between cigarettes every time you hear him. Slightly out of breath.
I had to. My girlfriend had no idea who Vincent Price was when we went and saw that you in the whole Comedy Bang Bang thing last summer, and I was like, okay, what would you know him from? Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
Thriller.
Actually, my first internet video was an episode of Yacht Rock, and it was the Channel 101 series, Yacht Rock.
You got that.
I played Vincent Price in Yacht Rock, and it was so fun. The premise of the episode was the recording of the Thriller album.
Oh, okay.
Which he was a part of.
Yeah.
So they had me as Vincent Price. They had Demorge Brown as Michael Jackson, and they had a bunch of guys. Oh, Steve Agee's in it.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
It's a really fun video. I should see that. I should post that again. It's been a long time.
The funk of 40,000 years.
What's that? Yes. Into the night as they rise. Oh, what a cackle!
Who is the? Let's put the. Who is the cartoonish? Is that just? That's not Captain Hook, is it? Wasn't there another?
The waxed mustache gay villain.
Who was that?
The thin mustache.
Yes.
Well, it's the archetype. That's one of the tells for a gay villain is the mustache. Vincent Price always has the mustache,
yes,
or the Van Dyke mustache and beard.
That's Van Dyke. Yes.
Captain Hook is definitely a gay villain. What's this? Snidely Whiplash,
yes,
I suppose.
That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I there's an endless number of examples, and I cite a lot of them in my act. And actually, I did a bit. It's on my album, right?
Yeah.
Then a couple months after my album comes out, Skyfall comes out with the biggest gay villain of all time. I can't believe they just did that. Javier Bardem is everything I'm talking about in my bit.
You're right.
I was like, I got to retire the bit, and then I can't because Javier Bardem does that thing. I have to work that in.
You do have to work that in.
He's like, he's like,
you're right.
He's like, Mommy was very bad, wasn't she, Mr. Bond? And when they talk about Mommy being very bad, I'm trying to separate you from your attraction to women.
Oh, that's perfect.
Mommy was very bad, Mr. Bond. Javier Bardem's a hot guy. He's the hottest ugly guy working in Hollywood today.
Honestly, we had to cover the stuff about cause I don't know a ton about you, so I'm glad we got to cover. So before today, I didn't know a ton about you. So except all the voices. So I'm glad we got to cover that. But honestly, I could do this all day, having you go, "Oh, do this, tell a story." This has been a blast.
Thank you, thanks, Justin.
Blast. I got to ask you one more thing because my buddy Bill, who works in the morning show with me, if I don't get you to do some Gary Busey, he's going to be super disappointed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got to wrap this program up. Is this a podcast? Is this broadcast into a podcasting format?
That's correct.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Gary R. Busey, private citizen, first class. And we've been down here at the Acme Theater with Justin. I've been down here. Well, let me tell you something. If you want to find out more about what's happening at Acme Comedy Company, you can check out their website, www.acmecomedyco.com/comedy/Busey.htm. If that is entered incorrectly, you will be taken to a Viagra website.
Thank you very much. Where do people go find you on Twitter?
You
Facebook?
will not find me on Twitter.
Oh.
Twitter is an Illuminati format.
Pardon me.
You can find me on Twitter at J Adomian.
Awesome.
Jadomian.
All right, James, thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy.
Come back soon.
Yeah,
you want to do this again?
I will.
All right.